guys, and welcome to Petrolheads London, and a slightly different location from usual because today I'm going to France and I'm going to test out the SQ5 to see basically how much booze we can get in it. This is a real life test for the SQ5. It's a car I've not had on my channel for a little while. We're keen to see how it performs. So let's get over the ferry, the water, yes, let's get over the water, get into France and let's see what we can fit in this. I wanted to test out the capabilities of the SQ5, so you guys have not seen a lot of this. When I say the capabilities, I don't mean the off-roading 4x4, because frankly with these low profiles on, it's no good. But we have a massive boot, and I reckon we can get a lot of wine in here. So we've popped over to France to this absolutely picturesque small town called Audi, which is just the other side of the water from Folkestone. So came over on the tunnel, and then we're here, and it's literally about a 20-minute drive from Calais, and you're away from all the hustle and bustle, and the sun is shining, and I'm getting some wine, which is always good. So let's have a look and see how this turns out. A successful trip, but expensive, to the wine shop. And I tell you what, one thing I love about this car, just the colour, and this doesn't really come across on the camera, but it's got kind of like a purpley sort of metallic, doing this on a busy road, bad idea, it was quiet when I started this, now there's lots of people coming around. It's got like a metallic tinge to it, and I don't know if you can quite see that, but it kind of almost looks a bit purpley and really pops in this weather. Even with the full blackouts on the windows, it is quite warm in here. So anyway, the wine was, well, quite tricky to fit in. I haven't counted all the cases, I will do before I put the end to this video, but there's been some really fun stacking going on trying to get all this stuff in. But I am not done. Like a true Brit, I'm going to go and... hold on. French biking. I'm going to go to the hypermarket next and go and get a few bits and pieces. But what I really want to do is test out this car and its capabilities of actually carrying all the weight. Oh look, GB sticker, because the boot is plastic and it won't stick. So that'll have to be good enough because I don't have Euro plates. But look, the ride height, it's barely affected it. It's pretty good. So let's go and see what this car is like on some of these roads as well. Now, if you haven't seen this car before already, this is kind of one of my dailies. And, well, I mean, my F-Type is my main daily, but this is kind of like our family car. And do you know what? It's a blooming awesome car for cruising, but also this thing shifts. If you haven't seen my video about it when I first got it already, that's worth a look. But anyway, let's have a look at this thing on the road. It's just so beautifully poised. I do love the way it A, performs and B, looks. Guys, the car is all loaded up, and this isn't just a video about showing you how much booze I can afford to fit in my car. You can hear the beautiful chinking of glasses, but I wanted to see how this car performed, and I've not done a lot about this on my channel on this car. And you know, I'm a little bit biased because I chose to buy this car, but I love it because it's a bit of wolf in sheep's clothing. It's great for bombing down the motorway, so on the way for the tunnel it was absolutely fantastic. A real cruiser. You've got the drive select mode on this model, so you can choose comfort or efficiency. Apparently it's got that, I've not found it. And dynamic, which is what I'm in now. Gear knob shifted over to the left into manual, and the bottles are jiggling around in the back. Now, what you would expect is on a road like this, which is, well, to be fair, better than a lot of English roads. I do love this car. Oh God, the performance, not just accelerating, but the braking too, is just quite exceptional. But this is a car that weighs £4,500 in weight. I don't even know what that is, but anyway, it's got to be a couple of ton at least. And even with all this extra weight in it, so with a couple of extra people and basically about 30 bottles of wine and some other bits and pieces, luggage and all that stuff, and you would have thought that actually that would make the car, well, wallowy or perform badly. And yeah, okay, you got to give a bit more on the braking distance because of the weight, but the performance of this thing, you can't hold it back. And with that four-wheel drive quattro, it just lays down the power. Let's get on and drive this thing a bit, shall we? These roads are amazing. This is one reason I love coming to Europe, is they have just fantastic roads and, well, nobody on them. So that makes them a real joy to drive. And actually, when I come here on my motorbike, I like that too as well, because they just seem to care a lot more about motorcyclists. Now, the one thing I must say about this SQ5 is although it's 4x4, it's not much of an off-roader. Now, I've not really taken this one off-road, but I got Pirelli P0s on it, and I tell you what, you get some mud in those treads and they'll be no good to anyone. But as an everyday car, this is the first Audi I've owned, and I have to say, I really struggled to fault it, despite their reputation they had for Audi drivers. I mean, the sound as well. This is a 3-litre V6 twin turbo on this. And yes, although it's a diesel, it doesn't sound like a tractor. The torque is just phenomenal. And I'm concentrating on very tight, small corners. It just, well, keeps giving. So, a bit of fun, but I think what I'm trying to prove is this car's not only practical, but fun. And if you look at like the equivalents of this, are things like probably the Audi S4, some of the X3 models, M Sport models that compete, but I just don't think they're as well appointed inside. This car is so comfortable, and sorry for the noise of the bottles, at least you know I'm being genuine, but oh man, that exhaust note is just delicious for a car like this. And actually, it's interesting, this car seems to get more of a following than the newer petrol SQ5, and I think it's because of performance. Look, I'm not sure I'm a big diesel fan. This is the first diesel car I've ever owned, but for this trip, I must say, it's been brilliant. I can sit on a motorway, it's like a tame pussycat, and then you get to these country roads and it does not let you down. And in this dynamic manual mode, the throttle response is good, the gear changes are pretty instantaneous. Beyond anything else, the capacity to carry wine is fantastic. But I think what I'm really impressed about with all this extra laden weight is it just really doesn't affect the handling at all. You would have thought that it would start sitting a lot lower on the ride height, and it's not noticeable. I've got friends who've loaded their car up with wine, and well, a lot more than I'm carrying here today, and well, you know who you are. At the end of the day, that thing looked like it was riding a lot lower. That was a Mercedes with air suspension. But this is just, well, first class. It really is. When I chose this car, I wanted something with a bit of poke and performance as well, and do things like this. Trips over to France, long European trips, effortlessly. It's comfortable. It's just easy to drive. But when you want to dial it up and you put it in that dynamic mode, oh, and the exhaust note just boot space test, I think. One last blast of this. So I've parked up. It's been a great little test with this car today. I mean, I think the conclusion is, and yes, okay, it's my car, so I'm slightly biased, that this car kind of, it does so many things. Yes, it can be fun and it can be sporty, and so often you can just drive it in a normal mode and, you know, or a normal manner, and you don't really get to enjoy it. But actually on these roads you unleash it in that dynamic mode. It's so much fun, and I'm just so impressed about how it copes with all of that extra weight. It really is an accolade to this car and how it performs. I mean, it's probably not helped my fuel efficiency too much, but it's been a fun experiment, and obviously now I've got plenty of time to go back and try and drink my wine. Anyway, thank you for watching Petrolheads London. Please comment below. I try and respond to everything. Remember to give me a thumbs up if you like this, or even a thumbs down if you didn't. But remember to subscribe for plenty more content to come. Thanks for watching Petrolheads London. Cheers.